Hello everyone, it's Shay Schwartzman here with the Done For You system. And today it's my pleasure to invite Margo Manning, who's the inside sales associate for the Vinny Steo team. Margo's in Bel Air, Maryland, and that's just outside of Baltimore. And today our pleasure is to welcome Margo, and she's going to show us how she uses, on behalf of the Vinny Steo team, how she uses the ultimate converter and best practices from the field from someone who uses it on a daily basis. So welcome, Margo. Thank you for being on our program today.
Thank you. No problem.
I appreciate your time and the expertise that you're going to share with us today. So, Margo, tell me a little bit about how long, more or less, you've been using the ultimate converters, and on a daily basis or on a regular basis, how you use it. Just give us an overview.
Okay, I guess I've been using it, I don't know, a few months, and it's worked pretty well. People seem to like it. They respond to it.
So you get a buyer lead, you get a seller lead. Vinny's doing some recruiting. So you've set the appointment. What happens next?
Okay, so if it's a seller's appointment, which is what I have up right now, if it's a seller's appointment, then what I do is once I set the appointment, then I let them know that I'm going to be sending them the appointment confirmation via the email. And along with the confirmation, there's going to be a link on that. So to please click that on, because it's going to give you some tips on selling your home. And in addition to that, it's going to give you a really good idea of what you can expect from us. And to please, make sure you click that on before we meet with you. And they usually say, okay.
How important, and I always stress to our members the importance of letting them know that it's coming and walking them through step by step, like you just mentioned, Margo, walking them through step by step on really what to expect. So they're going to get an email, there's going to be a link in it. So you've done that. And why do you think that's important to really set their expectations?
Well, because if they don't know, they won't know how important it is to click on that link. They'll just see it. If they're busy, they'll ignore it. But at least by letting them know that what they click on is going to benefit them, then they're more likely to do it.
So show us, Margo. So you've booked the appointment. Show us what you do to set. So you've let them know to expect that the benefits of obviously looking at it. What do you do next?
Okay, so I would just go to URL link right here, click that on, and then where it says fill in the form, I usually put the first name. If it's a couple, if it's Jane and John, I would put their first names in, and it's very important that you use and nothing else. So it would be Jane and Jane and John, and you need to spell that out, the letter N. And then the email address, I'll just do mine.
Now, I want to make mention that it's always important to email the whatever converter, whatever template you're using, is to email it to yourself first, right? So that you can then forward it from your own email address. And
then when it comes to, it says email template. So right now I'm in the seller's converter. So what I normally put is seller appointment confirmation. Usually click that on. Then I would go down to where it says select subject. Then I would click on regarding our meeting. Because I'm sending them the appointment confirmation. So it's about our meeting, and then I click Edit Template. Okay, I enlarge that. Then the first thing here, where it says Vinny Steo, then I would go down to this, and it has your home sale. Usually what I would put on the sellers, I just put the address of their home. is what I put on there. So let's say it's, so I put the address here. Then now if it's the buyers, I would just put the time of the appointment or the date of the appointment. If it would be, you know, if the appointment is February the 16th, I would put February the 16th, you know, 2016. So I would either write the date of the appointment, but this is your home sale, so I just put the address of their home. Then I would scroll down to the next part that you see that has the writing, and then it says it will automatically show the name of the person that I put in there, although you may not see it, but it shows it. So it is there. So, but what you're seeing right now, it just says it was great talking to you on the phone. We look forward to meeting you on, and then I would change whatever this is, Saturday, 2/13/2016 at, let's say, at 10 p.m. at your home. And then normally, I always cut and paste, or you could write it in. Main Street, etc. And then you would just fill that in. And then you would scroll down to here, what we have, and then it says, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And then, and that's basically it. So then you go down, preview. Oh, and there's one thing that I usually add, I almost forgot. At the end, going back to here, I always put down the name of the agent that's meeting them. So let's say Aaron from our team will be there to meet with you. And then I put his cell phone number. Then I scroll down to the bottom and where it says, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. So make sure the days are the same, because if you already have something populated in there already, you want to make sure that it's correct. Then you click preview and set preview. Then it's going to show you what it looks like. So then it has 203 Main Street. Then you scroll down. See, the name is there, Jane and John. So everything that I just wrote is here, so you just confirm that everything is correct. Then down here is the link that they can click on. Then they can click that on, and that's where they get all the other information. And then when it's done, you just click send.
And do you leave the active to receive notification? Do you leave that active to receive notification?
Yes, I do, because then I'll get an email of when they view it.
I see.
See?
And so when you send it, when do you receive that email notification? Does it happen quickly, or do you follow up with them? What do you do to get them or to compel them, other than the initial time? Do you ever follow up with them to say, hey, have you had a chance to look at the converter before the meeting? Do you do any follow-up with that?
I always follow up a day or two before the appointment to confirm the appointment. So, and then there's another way to view to see when they've looked at the appointment. So you just, let me back up. because Jane, and it will show on here if they viewed it. Right now it says 0, so it will show when they view it. So that's another way to see when they have viewed it. But then I'll get an email of when they viewed it as well. It will be directly sent to my email. And I always call a couple days prior to the appointment to confirm the appointment. And if they haven't looked at the email, I will say, did you get a chance to click on the link that we sent to you? And they'll usually say, oh, I just haven't had a chance yet, but I'll make sure that I get to that. Or yes, I did. So that way I know, and then it's confirmed, and then I confirm the appointment.
And what difference do you have you heard from your agents or from your team leader or from the agents going out? People who've looked at your seller converter versus not having looked at it, have they said if there's any difference? Have you come across? What's your experience show?
Well, what I've heard is that some of the agents have said that, especially with the listings, that sometimes when they go on sellers appointments, that sometimes the clients just basically say, I've already seen the video, we're good to go, and it cuts the steps in half sometimes, as far as what the agent needs to let them know. Sometimes they just automatically say, I'm good to go, let's get to it. Sometimes the agent will still have to go through all the steps that they go through, but sometimes this cuts it in half, and it's usually easier to sell.
And what other times would you use the converter, specifically here in this case, the seller converter? Is it to confirm appointments? Do you use it in any other situation for follow-up, or in any other situation, even if you haven't booked an appointment?
If I haven't booked an appointment and they just want more information, about our team or about who we are, sometimes I'll just send them something from here. But mostly what I use it for is buyers and sellers appointments.
And truly, that's what it's there for. It's a pre-selling kit. It's an online pre-selling kit that's personalized just for them. The people like the folks that you set up here in our demonstration. Now, the buyer converter. When would you use that, and what are some of the results that you've noticed with the buyer converter?
Well, I would use the buyer converter when we're setting a buyer's appointment, if they're just interested in looking for homes. And I go about it the same way, except if it's for the buyer's side. Do you want me to show?
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. Thank you.
So.
And as you're doing that, Margo, what's your strategy with buyers? Do they come to the office? Do you go to their, do they go to the home?
Okay, I'll show you because it's actually on here. So it'll probably give you a better idea.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. So with the buyers, I would set, we usually always, rarely do we not set it at the office. And I just find the office that's closest to them or closer to the list house that they want to see or the area that they live. I just find, because we have several offices, so I just find the office that's closest to them, and that's the office where I set the appointment. So once I set the appointment, then I will go to the URL link again, and let's say Jane and John. So I always use the and I usually just use their first names. Sometimes I'll use their last.
Right. Is there any particular reason you would use their last or not use their last?
Sometimes if it's a common name let's say we have a lot of Janes or a lot of Johns, and I think it may duplicate, because then it will sometimes tell me that I've already created that link or it's not available. So if I feel that it's going to be duplicated, then I'll put the last name.
I see. Okay.
If not, let's say we have an odd name like Cassandra, and I know I've never used a Cassandra, then, I'm usually okay with it. But if it's, Jane or John or John, something that I've used a million times, then I may add a last name.
Sure. And just for our listeners, once you've set up a link in any of the converters, just like Margo is doing right now, once you've sold them a home, once you've completed the transaction, you could always delete the name as well. So you can,
yes, you can
reuse the name. A little point for everyone.
Oh, and then in addition to that, let's say that I created a converter for Jane and John already, and I need to send them something else, or let's say something didn't go through or something happened, then I would add the last name, because if it's already in the system, then I just make sure that it gets through.
I see. Okay.
So then I go to the template where it says buyer's appointment, and that's what I click on because I'm sending them an appointment confirmation.
Yes.
So I click that on, and then it goes down to select subject, and I click on regarding our meeting. So then I go to edit template. I make that larger so I can see it. Then the very first part here, it would say confirming our meeting, and then I put the date of the meeting. And I go down to where the written part is. And then I just write the date, Saturday, which is already defaulted in there. So then I just add at 10 o'clock. And then right here in our office, and then it says the address along with the link to the MapQuest is pasted below. And then after that, I put in the agent's name. I put Erin from our office will be there to meet with you. And then I put Erin's phone number.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Okay, and then I scroll down to the next section, and then where it says see you Saturday, so I always make sure that the days are the same because Saturday is automatically programmed in there. So then I change it if I need to. Then I will scroll down on this particular section because then it's going to have maps to our office. So let's say we're meeting them at the Bel Air office in Boston. It's already pre-programmed in here, all of our offices. So what I do is just delete the ones that I'm not using. So if we're using the one in Bel Air, which is one of our most popular, then I would just delete everything else. And then we're good to go. Because then
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, and then I just click review, and then it has everything in here. Then I just review to make sure it's correct.
And do you follow up with them like sellers to see that they've previewed it before the meeting?
Yeah, well, this is on the buyer side, so yeah, then I always follow up with them the same as I do the sellers, and to make sure, I usually call a day or two before the appointment to confirm. So when I initially set the appointment, I let them know that I'm sending them the appointment confirmation along with the link. for them to click on, and then I follow up a couple days before the appointment to confirm and to make sure that they receive the email that I sent to them.
And what sort of response do you get on the buyers? Now, one would assume that you're going to get more response or better response from the seller because they have, I guess there's more vested since they're paying a commission versus the buyers who, although the commission is obviously paid through the proceeds of sales, but the buyer, I guess they feel that they don't have as much invested as a seller does. So what sort of response do you get from the buyers and after they've looked at it, have you found that there's any difference in show-up rates or people signing exclusive agreements, etc.?
Yes, I believe it is, and I do believe there is a difference. You know, if they viewed it, it's usually a better converter rate once they have viewed the this converter, either one.
Mm-hmm. Since using the converter over the while, seller, buyer, are there any tips or strategies that you've developed over the time that you could share with our listeners, or best practices that you could share that say, you know what, I've done this or I tweaked this and I find that people open it more, or that type of thing?
Usually what I say to them when I'm initially making the appointment is that I'm going to be sending you an appointment confirmation. It's going to have all the information on there regarding the appointment. And in addition to that, there's going to be a link. So please make sure you click the link on, because it's going to give you some really good tips on purchasing a home. And then also it's going to give you a really good idea of what you can expect from us. So if you get a chance, please click that on before we meet up with you. And that's what I usually say to them.
Mm-hmm. And what recommendations could you make for ISAs, team members using the converter? I mean, just your own experience. What, from the results that you've seen, what would you say?
I would say I think it's a very good idea. I think the converter it's a little bit more work, but I think it's well worth it, because they have a better understanding of who we are. I think it gives us better credibility. I think it makes them feel like we put out a lot of effort to do this. It gives them idea also when they're looking to see who we are. It helps them understand who we are and what we do. And I think it's very well taken, very well received. And I think it definitely enhances the appointment. I think it's a better conversion rate as well because of it.
Any other thoughts or that you would share with us before we conclude our call today?
No, I think that's it, and thank you very much. I'm happy to have been able to help.
Thank you very much again, Margo, for your time today and sharing your expertise and your experience with the Ultimate Converter. Thanks very much again.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.